Welcome back to the Undrafted. Today I'll be doing 8 NBA players set to break out next season. While I'm recording this video, the NBA season starts tomorrow, Tuesday, December 22nd. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're on the road to 1K, and let's get straight into the video. My number one player set to break out next season, I have Michael Porter Jr., who averaged 16.4 minutes per game, 9.3 points per game, 4.7 rebounds per game, and 0.8 assists per game. My reason for Michael Porter breaking out next season is he'll be getting a lot more minutes per game next season, as in the bubble he started 36 minutes per game, 22 points per game. So he'll be getting a lot more minutes, which will up his shot attempts, shot tendency. And my prediction for Michael Porter is he will be a great scorer in this league, possibly next year. But he has the potential to be one of the best scorers in the league. My prediction for next year is 23 to 24 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and 1.3 assists per game. Michael Porter, the only way he doesn't break out is if his minutes are limited due to his effort on defense, which I hope he picks up next season because it limited him during the playoffs where they benched him for Jeremy Grant due to defense. But if Michael Porter can figure that out, he has the potential to be, I'm not saying Kevin Durant, but he's looking like he could be one of the most unstoppable offensive players in the league for the next few years, in my opinion. My number 2 player set to break out next season, I have DeAndre Ayton, who averaged 32 minutes per game, 18.2 points per game, 11.5 rebounds per game, 1.9 assists per game, and 1.5 blocks per game. DeAndre Ayton will break out due to the fact that he has Chris Paul on his team now instead of Ricky Rubio. No disrespect to Ricky Rubio, but Chris Paul is a huge upgrade from Ricky Rubio. He'll get a lot more looks in the pick and roll, a lot more maybe pick and pop if he can get his shot more consistent. And if DeAndre Ayton decides not to do drugs this year, he'll be playing a lot more games, a lot more minutes. And my prediction for him is 23 points per game, 12 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, and 1.5 blocks per game. I think DeAndre Ayton will average these numbers, especially now he's on a winning team or projected to win, make the playoffs at least. He's on a winning team now. He will up his points per game. I mean, Devin Booker is still on the team, so he will take some shots from Ayton. Chris Paul will take some shots as well. But DeAndre Ayton, he's the main pick and roll target on the team now. So I think he will average around 23 points per game. And my number 3 player set to break out next season, I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And my prediction for Shai, I'm a huge fan. I might be biased. I'm a Thunder fan. But he averaged 34 minutes per game, 19 points per game, 3.3 assists per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, all with Chris Paul on the team, Dennis Schroeder, Gallinari, Steven Adams. But now it's his own team. He could possibly become an all-star, even though the West guards are stacked. He has the team, it's his team right now, the team all to himself. So my prediction for him is he'll average 26 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 7 rebounds per game. The rebounds, it could be higher just because the Thunder don't really have a real center. They have Al Horford, who's never been much of a rebounder. And the assists per game, I don't know if he'll be playing point guard or George Hill will be running point guard. But if he will run some point guard, I'm sure he'll run point guard when George Hill's on the bench or something. So that 5 assists per game and 26 points per game, it might be a little bit of a reach. He might average 24, but 26, it is his own team. So if he improves, his shot attempts will go up tremendously. He'll be shooting most likely every shot the whole game. And that's my prediction for Shai, possible All-Star. My number 4 player set to break out, I have Rui Hachimura, who averaged 30.1 minutes per game, 13.5 points per game, 6.1 rebounds per game, and 1.8 assists per game. And he has Russell Westbrook on his team right now. The Wizards are also supposed to be a playoff team now. When they weren't last year, they were one of the worst defensive teams in the league. There was no motivation to play, no energy. It was just Bradley Beal averaging 30. It might have been inflated stats. Rui Hachimura, 14 points per game as a rookie. But now they have a real playmaker in Russell Westbrook, who will see Rui Hachimura open a lot more than he got last year. And I feel like Rui Hachimura will up his points per game to 19 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and 2 assists per game. And possibly one steal a game and 1 block a game. He could become a good defender next season. He was decent last season, but, the Wizards as a whole, they were just a terrible defensive team. My number 5 player who will break out next season, I have Chris Boucher, who had 0 starts in his entire career. Last season, 13 minutes per game, 6.6 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, and 1 block per game. Next season, he is set to start since Serge Ibaka is gone, Marc Gasol is gone. So there are no big men in front of him right now. And he will average, in my opinion, 16 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, and 2 blocks per game. This one might be a bit of a reach, the double-double with 2 blocks per game. But, the Raptors development team, they turned Van Vliet from an undrafted rookie to, $80 million contract. Possibly an all-star eventually, Fred Van Vliet. So Chris Boucher, this might not be off at all. With the up in minutes, from 13 minutes per game to possibly around 30, high 20s. That's my prediction for him. My number 6 player set to break out next season, I have Kobe White, who only started 1 game last season behind Thomas Satoransky. He averaged 25.8 minutes per game, 13.2 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, and 2.7 assists per game. My prediction for him next season, he will start Billy Donovan as the coach now instead of Jim Boylan. An upgrade, a huge upgrade. He will start next season next to Zach LaVine, who is also a scorer. So Kobe White's scoring, I see him averaging 20 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game. He has other scorers on his team like Zach LaVine. I was talking about. He got Lauri Markkanen. Patrick Williams is looking like a good player. If Wendell Carter can figure it out, they got him too. Otto Porter. I don't know if they're a playoff team, but Kobe White is an incredible player, and he will break out next season. My number 7 player, I have Miles Bridges, who averaged 30.7 minutes per game, 13 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game, and 1.8 assists per game. Next season, I don't know if he'll start or come off the bench. It could be P.J. Washington starting at forward, but it could be Miles Bridges. But my prediction for Miles Bridges, he has LaMelo Ball now, great playmaker, coming out of the overseas, one of the best playmakers in the draft. He's going to have Miles Bridges as an option on offense. I see him averaging 18 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, and 2 assists per game if he starts, which I hope they start him because he's an incredible player. Great shooter, great athlete, defensive potential. My last player set to break out next season is Lonzo Ball, who averaged 32 minutes per game, 11.8 points per game, 7 assists per game, and 6.1 rebounds per game. So, I personally think Lonzo Ball is a bust as of right now because second pick of the draft, he hasn't done much. 11 points per game as the second pick when players after you like Jason Tatum are already all-stars, already leading their teams to Western Conference Finals. But Lonzo Ball, he still has time to prove why he's not a bust. And with Jrue Holiday gone, he has the role of the point guard on the team. Zion Williamson doesn't have minute restrictions anymore. He still has Ingram. Eric Bledsoe, I don't know if he'll try to get buckets, but Lonzo Ball as the main point guard on the team, I see him averaging 15 points per game, 9 assists per game, and 7 rebounds per game. The points, I'm going to have to, because preseason, his shot, it was looking like it improved, honestly. So that 15 points per game could be a stretch, but I'm going to have to see 15 points per game to call him, not a bust. But that 9 assists per game is going to be huge for them next season. He has a lot of options. J.J. Redick in the corner. He got Zion Williamson, those lobs. It's going to be a fun team to watch. He still has Ingram. Jackson Hayes might get some minutes. Steven Adams, forgot about him. But Lonzo Ball has a lot of options. One of the best passers in the league. One of the best defenders in the league at the point guard position as well. So Lonzo Ball, if he could average more than what I predicted for him, he could win the Most Improved Player award. 15 points per game, can't win it, but if he averages around 18 to 19, he could possibly be in the conversation for it. Still, my prediction is Michael Porter or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander winning the Most Improved Player award next season. But that's the end of the video. Comment down below who you think is going to break out next season. If my 8 players were who you think is going to break out. If I'm missing a player, tell me down below. I'll see your comment. We could talk. And that's it for the video. And I'm out.